Hi everyone. We installed our new drip irrigation system in our garden about 6 months ago, and wow, the results have been amazing. Healthier plants, more harvests, and way less time spent watering. So in this video, I'm going to show you the results and how the garden looks 6 months later, and I've also included the step-by-step instructions on how we install drip in these raised beds here behind me that we included earlier this year. So you have everything here in one video. So you can get drip irrigation installed in your garden before your garden misses out and you never have to hand water again. Now we switched over our entire garden this year to the Mr. Landscaper drip irrigation system. And in these two raised beds, we installed the 1/4-inch tubing with built-in emitters. And I love those for raised beds because it targets the plant's roots and the growth is absolutely amazing. And this is actually the second planting we've had in these raised beds. So in 6 months, we've gotten 2 crops of vegetables from these raised beds and tons of tomatoes overhead. Here on the hill and in many other parts of our garden, I installed the Mr. Landscaper micro sprayers, and I'm absolutely loving the results. The micro sprayers actually mimic gentle rain, and what I like about them is that because they're watering the entire root zone, I've noticed fuller, lusher plants and way more tomatoes this year. If you'd like more information on how to set up micro sprayers or containers, I'll put a link to those videos in the video description. Hi everyone! Drip irrigation is a total game changer. It saves me water, a ton of time, and keeps my garden thriving with accurate, consistent watering. But if you've never installed it before, it can feel very, very intimidating. But I've got good news for you. My special guest today and I are going to break it down for you step by step so you know exactly how to install it all the way from your hose bib to your garden bed and dial it in without the headaches. Now, I've been using and testing Mr. Landscaper here in my garden for several months. I can't believe how easy it is to install, makes watering a breeze, and believe it or not, it's actually fun. So by the end of this video, you're going to be excited and feel confident to install drip irrigation in your garden and water the easy way. Let's dive in. This is Sam, the inventor and founder of Mr. Landscaper. Sam, welcome to our garden.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And we're excited for Sam to help us with our drip irrigation install today. And share with us a little bit, Sam, for those of our viewers who have never used drip irrigation. What is it? How does it help your garden? And what are some of the headaches that people experience with it?
Oh, thank you so much. So drip irrigation is really a light drip. I know it sounds funny, but it's just a light drip of water. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to just really concentrate the water near the plant's roots. And it's not like overwatering. You know, like giving your kid a glass of milk instead of trying to give your kid a gallon of milk at a serving, right? So we're just slowly, gently watering right around the base of the plant. And I know a lot of people are kind of confused about drip or maybe even afraid of it. And I understand that. You go into the store and you see thousands of little pieces of black little, fittings. What do I do with it,
It's
right?
confusing.
Totally. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of worry about how do I do it or what do I buy and, can I even do it, right?
Yes.
So really what I'd like to do with you today is to show people how easy it is to really install. Like we've gone on our way to make our fittings really user-friendly, easy to turn on and off. I mean, we just have so many benefits that we've done over the years, just listening to people, listening to kind of their headaches and, their frustrations and trying to redesign our products so that they're easy as possible to install.
I love that because traditionally over the years for me, it's been really hard to connect those fittings, make sure the drippers aren't clogged, and sometimes it can just be a real headache just getting it installed in your garden. What are a few things that you've done to make it really easy? I know you've got all the kits.
Right.
Like, what about that? I mean, to me, that's like the dream, right?
Well, the reason why that came about is because people didn't know how to start. They didn't know what to buy or purchase. So what we did is we took that headache away from them. We knew exactly what you needed. We knew what hose fitting you needed to attach, how much tubing to use, what fittings that you would use. And then we think about things like, okay, so we don't know exactly how many, in this particular situation, how many rows they have. Like, everybody has their own different vegetable gardens. Some people have raised beds, some people have like a little plot. And so we try to think of putting enough items in there so they could do several different rows. Nice. And then we think of little things like, okay, when they get to the end, how do they stop it? How do you stop the flow of water coming out the end?
Right.
So we have little goof plugs that go in the end of the tubing on the drip kits so that you can end each row.
Perfect, because we all make goofs when we're installing.
Yeah, that's why we called it that. I think it's a funny name.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I'm really excited about is we've been working on this area for quite a while. Our viewers have been watching us. install the decking, install the raised beds, fill them with soil. And the next step, before I get our veggies planted in just a couple of weeks, is to install drip so our veggies, right when we get them planted, have really good effective watering.
Cool.
So we're going to be installing the vegetable garden drip kit with your help today. Very excited about this, Sam. So why don't we bust open the kit and see what's inside?
Sounds great.
This is the vegetable garden drip kit, and I absolutely love how this takes all the guesswork out of installing drip irrigation. I am just so thrilled with having these kits available to us. One thing I love about this that I think makes it so easy to install, pictures and directions on the back. This is a real game changer. I use this as I was installing to look at all the parts and follow the directions step by step. And that's basically what we're going to help our viewers do today, is just walk through it and show everyone how easy this is. So Sam, why don't you help me pull out everything that's in here?
Sure. So we'll pull out the little tab and then I'll kind of show you what we have in this nice kit. What we have in here today, Kim, is we have 100 linear feet of inline drip tubing. So what that means is every single 12 inches is a little half-gallon-hour dripper. You can see the little hole where the water comes out.
Yes.
And then in this bag, we have all our components to be able to hook up to the faucet. We have the 1/4-inch vinyl tubing. This is so we can run from the 1/2-inch tubing to the inline little feeder. You know, so we can feed it from the main line.
So no drip emitters here. It's kind of like your water supply line to your raised beds.
The mini supply line.
Okay, perfect.
And then the main supply line is this 1/2-inch poly tubing.
Okay, wonderful. And one thing I love too that I've used a ton is the product guide, which has pictures of all the drippers and all the different components. You could add things on. It just really helps to have the pictures. I don't know, I'm very visual, so the pictures are real helpful for me, and also for someone who's never done it before.
And we even have in there maximum runs.
Oh, nice.
That's a question we get a lot, is like, I have, you know, this many feet of gardens, how far can I go with, and the dripper still work?
That's perfect, 'cause that's always a confusing point for me as well.
Yeah.
So basically in this kit, we have plenty of supplies.
Yeah.
To cover these 2 raised beds, right?
Exactly. So we have enough tubing here, Kim, to probably do maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 raised beds. Yeah, because think about it, these are what, maybe 3-4 feet?
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect.
2 feet. So we're only going to use, think about it, less than 10 feet of probably tubing in each one of these. So
I'll have leftovers.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to expand and extend all over your yard with this.
Perfect. Is there anything else that we need besides what's in the kit to do the install?
Just a pair of scissors.
Well, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
I am so glad we're getting this installed, because I do not have time to hand water on my raised beds. And then if I'm not consistent with my watering, my veggies aren't going to make it.
Yeah, it's a good point. This is truly the alternative to hand watering. Anyone that's been out there dragging around garden hoses, watering their plants, vegetables, whatever you've been watering with your garden hose, this is going to save you so much time, but it's also going to save you a lot of water. You know, because you're watering with drippers and you're going to be watering right at the base of the plant instead of, you know, out there with the garden hose, you tend to overwater, right?
Right.
And so that's going to save you money because it's going to save on your water bill.
Yeah, and water is so expensive these days, so anything like that totally helps.
I agree.
Okay, let's get it installed.
Let's do it.
Woo. Now we're going to start here at the faucet by installing a backflow preventer directly to the faucet first. And this is a simple fitting, but it's very important to install it because it prevents fluids from your drip irrigation system into flowing back into your clean water system. It's an easy fitting that you can grab on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. First off, I went ahead and put a timer on it because I forget to turn my water on and off, and that way it gets the consistent watering that it needs. It's going to help me harvest and grow a lot more vegetables. I don't want to forget and have my vegetables die. So what do we start with first from the kit?
Okay, what I suggest starting with is the pressure regulator. And the reason why is that, Kim, I know here at your house you have 70 pounds of pressure, but people have anywhere from 40 pounds of pressure up to 100 pounds of pressure. And the little drippers that are in the inline drip tubing, that would just ruin them. You know, they can't handle that kind of pressure. So by putting the 25-pound regulator, if I got 70 pounds coming into that faucet and through the timer, I'm going to have, when I come out of there, about 25 pounds. And that's a perfect amount of pressure for the drippers.
So this is a super, super important
Yes.
component not to leave off your kit. Make sure you put the pressure regulator on.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and screw this right on to the end of one of the zones of my timer. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey is how I always remember it. We're just going to use one of these timer outlets for now.
And just hand strength is all you need to get that on there. There
Perfect.
you go.
All right,
Perfect.
great.
So the next step is is almost as equally as important as a pressure regulator is the filter. Because we're talking really, think about half a gallon an hour drippers. That orifice is so small, you know, it could get plugged up so easily. So why not just take away the headache of worrying about getting your drippers clogged and go ahead and start with a filter.
We want all that watering going right to my veggies.
And the cool thing about that filter, Kim, is that you can actually undo the end of it and you can pull out the screen and clean it if you ever needed to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That little cap comes off and the filter screen just pulls out. Yeah, look at there.
Oh my gosh, and you can just rinse it out.
Yeah.
And you are good to go again.
Yeah, and then just shove it back in. You got it.
Perfect. I love that.
From here, once you get the end cap put back on, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up the hose fitting. And what this hose fitting is for is so that you can actually attach the 1/2-inch poly tubing. So that would be the next step.
Perfect.
So
and I'm assuming it goes right here.
Right, and you can position this. So like we're gonna end up going down here, right? So these things have a swivel. So you can actually just turn it like this, Kim.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it has a swivel, so we can swivel it maybe down so the tubing kind of comes down towards the ground.
So you can orient it whichever way your garden is from the hose faucet and from the timer.
And you just, again, go on hand tight.
Nice.
Kim, the next thing we're going to do is hook up the poly tubing. And I just want to point out real quick, if Jerry can get it tightened in on that, there's a built-in O-ring. You see that little ring right there, that little bulge in the plastic? What that is for is that once the tubing gets over and past that, when you go to tighten this over the tubing, it's going to tighten the tubing to the collar so it locks down. But what's nice is you can undo it, turn it back over the tubing, and you can wiggle the tubing off, so they're all reusable.
That is so nice. I love how they're reusable parts. I can't tell you how many parts I have wasted my money because I made a mistake and then I couldn't get them off.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the other companies that offer drip irrigation use like compression fittings, and I have to tell you, Kim, they are a nightmare. It is so hard. You got to be almost like Mr. Hulk to get those things in there, and then you never know if you got them on far enough. So this kind of took all those problems away from homeowners by having this type of fitting, is that you know you got it on far enough, because when you go to tighten down that collar, it should only turn about one turn. If it keeps spinning, then you just didn't get it past the O-ring, and you just got to push the tubing on a little bit further.
Nice. You get it on tight enough, and then it's not going to leak at all on you.
That's
perfect.
Right. So to start with, Kim, you're just going to kind of grab the back side of that filter, and you're just going to use that as leverage, and you're just going to push and wiggle that tubing so that you get it on far enough past that O-ring. Yeah, you just push and wiggle.
Perfect. I can feel it kind of get down in there.
You feel it get tight, right?
Yeah.
That's all you have
nice
to do.
And tight. Okay.
And then now you're going to counterclockwise, just like that. You're going to turn. See how you can only turn it that far?
Oh yeah, it is tight.
That's it. That's all you should be able to turn it, and you know it's on tight that way.
That is so easy.
Isn't that great?
I am just thrilled.
I love these fittings.
So this is our 1/2-inch water line that's going to take water to the garden beds. But this is the point where I always struggle. Unrolling the tubing, getting it to the garden beds, it always kinks. It's a mess, it's hard to work with, and it just takes me forever to do.
Kim, I know your pain, and so do a lot of other people that have
Yeah.
installed drip irrigation. This polyethylene tubing is a little bit stiffer and a little, it's kind of crazy to unroll this. It's happened to me as well. But I learned years ago a couple tricks to show you.
Oh, good.
The first trick is that while you're getting all set up and getting ready to install your drip irrigation, is just put this roll of tubing out on like your sidewalk if you have a sunny day, and it warms it up a little bit, so that'll make it a little softer.
Oh, nice.
But there is a really cool trick that I learned years ago, and that is to fill it up with water before you unroll it. You're going to actually install the end fitting now, which is normally what we do at the end.
Yeah.
But if you go ahead and install the end fitting now, we're going to turn on the faucet and fill this tubing with water so that it really unrolls much easier. And so the end fitting, you just push it on one end.
It's like the crimper?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our end crimper.
Cool.
And then you go about 6 inches like that, and then you're going to bend it in half. And then you're going to run it through the other hole, and that ends the line.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So now we're just going to turn on the water and fill that up with water.
Okay, it's exciting.
And you can hear the water flowing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to fill in.
And I feel the hose getting heavier.
You feel it getting heavy?
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, so now all you have to do is just unwind it.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
this is a dream.
Just go backwards, rolling it as it was on the coil, and look at that. Look
This
at
is
it
a
laying
dream.
there. Have you ever had this
No.
happen before?
No, it always kinks up right in the middle.
Right?
This is perfect.
Can you believe how nice it works when it's filled with water like that?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for this tip.
Yeah.
I know our viewers are all gonna really enjoy this. I'm just gonna tuck in this 1/2-inch tubing right behind the deck here so it's nice and neat and tidy. Of course, Mac, in the way, Mac. That's okay, we love it. All right, we're all set.
Okay, so now we're gonna hook it up to the poly tubing that you just laid out.
All right, this will be fun.
Awesome.
Show me what to do.
Okay, so what we're gonna do next to cute little Mr. Mac, we're gonna hook this system up to the poly, but to do that first, Kim, is I'm gonna hand you one of our barbed couplers.
Okay.
And you just use the tool that comes in the kit and you stick it in the bottom of that tool.
I mean, how many
Yeah,
times
go
have
ahead and
I
push it over. There
struggled
you
with
go.
these? That is really neat. I love that.
And now you're gonna attach the vinyl to that barb
Oh, wow.
and just push it in. Hey, buddy. Yeah. There you go. And you just that's right, you just keep pushing till you get past that barb, and you wanna try and bring that vinyl all the way to the end of the little hex there.
Okay.
There you
So
go.
the vinyl is the supply line that will bring the water from the 1/2-inch
Yes.
to the garden bed.
That's right.
Great.
Good job.
Oops. Okay, is that good?
That's it.
All right.
You pull it apart. Now what you're going to do is you're going to attach it to the poly. Now, Kim, if you don't mind me showing you real quick, when you're attaching to poly, a lot of times people think just to like snap a hole and kind of go from this angle.
Right.
But when you do that, you see how the tubing is kind of sticking up?
Oh, yeah.
So you can kind of trip on it. So I always suggest snap your hole on the side, and then that way it's laying nice and flat.
So am I doing this right here?
That's right. You just push into it, and you're going to hear a little pop.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Isn't that cool?
That is
And then
so
you just,
easy.
I know. And just pull it out.
Okay.
And now you're going to just take, and you see the little wings right here? You can use those to push, to give you leverage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you're just going to snap it in the hole you just made. And just push it in. And you hear another pop.
Oh, that's perfect.
So you know you got it in there.
I was getting ready to push really hard because that's normally what I have to do, or I have my little clicker lighter out here to soften the tubing. This is like a dream. I can't believe it.
Kim, great job. Now
Thank
we're going to
you.
go over to your veggies.
All right, can't wait. Okay, here we are.
Yeah, so now that you've unrolled some of the vinyl and you kind of get an idea of like where you're going to put, your first line, which is
Okay.
really anywhere along there would be good.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, Sam, if it will work, if we come up here through
Sure.
the corner of the smart pot.
What a great
That
idea.
way it's not quite as obtrusive.
Yeah, so probably where you give yourself enough slack. I always
Okay.
like to have a little more than a little less, you know what I mean? But I think
Right.
if you cut it anywhere along there, it would be great.
Okay, perfect.
And you just need a pair of scissors, Kim.
I can't believe how soft this tubing is, too.
I know. We make it with a really thick wall and a very, very high quality vinyl, so it's nice and flexible.
Now, Sam, I didn't get this quite straight. Is that a big deal?
Would probably be better if you got a straight cut. So if you don't mind, I would
Sure.
recut it.
Okay. Easy to do.
Oh,
There
look
we
at there.
go. Nice
Now
and straight.
that is perfect.
Good.
Okay, so now for the first step is we're gonna actually have you install one of our inline on-off valves.
Oh,
so I'm gonna hand it
nice.
to you. It's got a barb on each side. And Kim, if I don't mind stopping for a second, I'm getting ready to make your life really easy.
Oh, good.
If you can take this into this vinyl and put it into like a cup of warm water, like, heat up a cup of from the microwave and just stick the tip end into
Wow.
that. I know, you're not gonna believe
This is crazy.
So you stick that in, right? And even though our vinyl tubing is really soft to begin with, this just makes it go on so much easier.
Oh, wow. My
Yeah.
hands are going to be, thank you so much, Sam.
And that's probably enough right there. Go ahead and try now taking the end of that tubing and shoving that barb on and see if it makes a big difference for you.
Oh, it's like butter.
it's
I
like
cannot
butter.
believe this.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. You guys really have thought of everything here.
Okay, so now Kim, you're gonna hook up the inline drip tubing.
Cool. Got water here, huh?
And you notice
Okay.
how we have a little bit of a lead in there for people?
Oh, yeah.
So kind of decide, Kim, where you want your first dripper. And you can
Okay.
see the drippers because there's a little hole and a little bulge in the tubing. That's where the dripper is embedded in.
Perfect.
What I mean by a lead is that from the end of the tubing to the first dripper, that's kind of blank. And it's
Okay.
just to allow people a little bit more room to get to their garden. But in this case, I would just go ahead and trim it off where you want your first plant.
Okay, well, I'm going to be planting cucumbers here, so I definitely want to get water right off the bat here at the trellis. So
Okay.
does this leave me enough
Yeah.
space to connect it to
There
the
you go.
line? Okay. And by the way, I love the on-off valve because it really gives me control over
Yeah.
how much I'm watering.
Exactly. And it allows you to turn it off.
Perfect.
Now, I would suggest again, because this is actually a different material. It's not vinyl, it's polyethylene, a little stiffer.
Okay.
I would definitely get your cup of hot water again.
Okay.
And you just dip it in there. Just takes a few
So
seconds.
simple.
I know, right?
Who would think
I know.
instead of my lighter, I can just use hot water. That's great.
Yep. You're just going to warm it up just a little bit, and probably that's enough
that good?
time.
Okay.
Yeah, just try that. And now you're going to take the end, and you're going to attach it to the other side. And you're just going to keep pressing and wiggling. And look how easy
Oh
that
my
was.
gosh,
It's
that's perfect.
crazy, right?
Wow, that is crazy. So much easier. And that's worth the price of admission right there. You have no idea how my hands have hurt using the clicker and then just trying to wiggle that tubing into place. I mean, anyone could do this.
Exactly, and I feel your pain. We've been doing this for years and years, and actually, we do this ourselves for the ag customers. We heat up the vinyl when we're putting our assemblies together, and so we knew how much easier it was for us. So that's why we try to share it with as many people as we can. Listen, make your life easy. Go just heat up a cup of water. That's all it takes.
That's perfect. Even a child or even someone with arthritis or disabilities
Sure.
in their hands could get in here and do this.
Yeah, I'm starting to get arthritis in my joints, especially my thumbs, and that just is a game changer.
So now I got to get the drip emitter tubing here in my raised bed. And I am so glad that you showed me how easy this is just to unroll as you go here. And you got the support sticks over there?
Yeah, these are gonna make your life a lot easier, Kim. I'm gonna
Perfect.
just put them right here, hand them as you need them, but those are
Perfect.
gonna make it so much easier.
Yeah, because I really want this tubing to stay right next to my vegetables, and I'm probably going to start planting some cucumbers right here. So I want this emitter right off the bat to stay right next to my cukes. And what's the little trick to keeping this in place here?
Okay, so see how we made it loose to fit anywhere along the tubing, but if you
Right.
want to get a little tighter, get closer to the dripper.
Oh,
And as you get closer to the dripper, you'll feel it get tighter.
Perfect. So this is a little bit wider right here.
Yeah, no, there you go.
Okay. Lay it right down here. And I really like to get my drip emitters as close to my vegetables as possible to make sure that they get watered. So I'm just going to lay this all here in a nice straight line. And I love to grab extra stakes because I want to keep this baby in place so my vegetables get all the water that they need. So do yourself a favor and pick up an extra 10-pack there, the Mr. Landscaper website. And I think I'm going to do about 4 rows of veggies in here. So I'm just going to wind this around the raised bed. Put 4 rows of the tubing.
Yeah, you're doing great, Kim.
Thank you.
More stakes down for you.
Ah, thank you. Typically in a larger, say a 4x8 raised bed, we wouldn't need quite as many stakes, but because we're making these tight turns and want to keep this close to my veggies, we're going to need a few more to make sure it's all secured and in place. And once the soil is wet and all the veggies are growing, this tubing is going to stay in place really nicely. It won't be quite so squirrely on us. When the tubing gets filled with water, it makes it a little bit easier to work with. But you know what? You get used to it over time. It's just a little bit stiff there. We got the last one in. Cut off the end.
Yep. That's how you end it.
And there we go. We got our drip
Yep.
irrigation in.
Yeah. If you didn't do anything at this point and you turn it on, you'd have water squirting out at you.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to end it with a goof plug.
The good old goof plug. I love these because not only can I plug the line, but it allows me to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's okay. All right, so what do I do here with this tool?
So what you're going to do is you're going to put that goof plug in the very butt end of that tool and wait for it, Kim. You're going to hear just a little snap to know you got it all the way in there.
Perfect.
There you go. And now you're just going to shove that right into the end of the tubing. And of course you could heat that tubing up again with some warm water. But with the tool, you have enough leverage really to get it in.
Sam, is this a problem? Because I didn't make a straight enough cut.
You know, I would probably go ahead and redo it, and let me show you how easy that is, Kim.
Oh.
Because it happens to me, it happens to everybody. If you don't, have a good straight cut on your tubing, to get something off that you want to refix, any barbed adapter, any barbed fitting, you literally take your scissors and you kind of cut the tubing, and you can feel how far down in to go to get to the, the plastic, and then see how easy that comes off.
Oh, nice.
And now you can get, more of a straight edge on it.
Oh, that's good. I'm just going to reinsert the goof plug here. Now, Sam, could I have removed the goof plug by sticking it in a cup of water?
Oh, sure, Kim. That would be easy. You just take the end of that tubing, insert it in a hot cup of water, and it would soften up and you'd eventually be able to pull it out.
I've got 2 raised beds to water. So how do I go from bed to bed?
Kim, that's a great question. And before we go into that, I'd like to talk about maximum runs, if it's okay.
Sure.
So we did approximately about 16 feet over here. So we could add on another 34 feet, because with this type of tubing, this inline drip tubing, you could run 50 feet maximum. So like from your starting point, from your water source, you can go out 50 feet and all drippers will work perfectly. If you go 51 feet, believe it or not, they could all slow down, or even someone could stop dripping. So you really just, maximum runs from the poly tubing is 50 feet.
Okay.
But I wanted to let the viewers know that what's so cool about this tubing, you've got 100 feet in the kit, so you have another 50 feet to go. But you can run up to 500 feet of this 1/4 inch inline drip tubing off of one section, off of one zone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so what we just hooked up to the faucet and the 50 feet of poly that comes in the kit, you could buy an additional 400 feet, and all of that can be run off of this kit as long as each maximum run is no longer than 50 feet.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You could literally irrigate your whole garden.
Right?
Like this.
Yeah.
So what are my options then here from going from bed to bed?
All
With
right.
that in mind.
All right, so with that in mind, again, because you've only used 16 feet in this first bed, we actually can go 34 more feet into the other bed.
Oh, perfectly. So it's okay to connect them.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And let me show you the 2 options of connecting. So one is you can actually take the vinyl tubing that you've already gone to feed this bed, use one of the 1/4 inch tees that's in the kit, cut the vinyl here, place in the tee, and then run the other piece of the vinyl over to the other bed.
Okay, perfect.
Or Kim, the other option you could do is to go back to the main line. So you could reconnect to the main line and run over to your second bed.
Oh, that's perfect. I think I'd rather do that. I think it's a much cleaner, neater look. I am so excited to have drip irrigation in both of my raised beds here. I cannot wait to get my vegetables planted now. But I do have a question. What happens if one of the emitters gets clogged or stopped up?
Oh, what a great question, because it does happen. It happens, to everyone. So we have a solution for this, and it's
good.
actually really easy. We actually offer these inline drippers. So
Nice.
they use the same amount of water as the drippers that you're already using in this brown inline tubing. They're both 5.5 gallons per hour, half gallon an hour. And what you would do is you would just go right next to the dripper, like right near where it's located, and you would cut, like say, an inch over, cut the tubing, and then insert the dripper there. And so that kind of fixes the clogged one.
Oh, perfect.
And guess what, Kim? It doesn't matter which way you insert it. Both ways work.
That is perfect. And what a time saver, because then I don't have to reinstall all my drip tube here in the raised bed.
That's right.
Now, what happens if, say, I have a vegetable here that I want to make sure gets water and it's in between the 2 emitters?
Oh my gosh, just insert one of these inline drippers right there.
Oh, perfect. So I can just come down here, cut the line, and then wiggle it in there, and the red side is where the dripper comes out.
Yep. And
Perfect.
again, it doesn't matter which side you inserted it in.
Perfect, and then my vegetables get in the water that it needs.
Yeah, quick, easy fix.
Now, Sam, I just thought of another question. We installed this today to our faucet, but a lot of viewers have an underground irrigation system. Can they install it to that?
Yes, and we do get that question a lot as well. And we actually have really simple solutions for that. We sell retrofit products.
Oh, perfect.
So we have a retrofit kit, we have a retrofit elbows and tees, and you literally can go from any PVC system to this kit. Because the kit already has the pressure regulator and the filter, which you really need. You just really need that device, depending on if they have 1/2 inch PVC or 3/4 inch. But we do have a fitting that will go into any 1/2 inch threaded fitting. If they're not sure which of our fittings to use for that, all they have to do is contact our customer service. They can call us, they can email us, or live chat us.
Sam, I think it's time. We got to turn the water on. I cannot wait to see the water coming out.
Cool.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go, Kim. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn the on-off valve to the on position.
Ooh, that's a good sound.
Yeah, you can hear them coming.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
Look at that. We have water.
That's so cool.
It is dripping out.
Yeah.
I can imagine this all filled with veggies, getting water, getting me a harvest soon.
That's right.
All the emitters are working great. Even where we put the little extra one in here.
Yep,
we
you
got
can hear
water flowing.
the air that was in the tubing. You can hear the water's pushing the air through. And that
Let's try this bed too.
awesome.
I'm gonna do the honors this time here. Here we go. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Let her roll. We've got water in 2 raised beds now. I hear the sound of vegetables growing. That's what I hear.
That's awesome.
We've run our drip for a little while. The soil's looking great. But one of the questions I get asked the most is how do I know how long to set the timer for and the frequency that I should be watering my raised beds?
This is such an important question and one we get asked a lot as well. And honestly, for me, I call it the finger test. And that way you can kind of dig right around the soil where the dripper is and where the plants are, just to make sure there's enough moisture. And if you don't mind, I'll just demonstrate.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So here we have a dripper here, we see all our drippers, but if I move the soil back a little bit, do you see how wet it is?
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
And even though the dripper is like right there, see how far it does
nice.
go?
Yes.
So now I know I'm getting pretty moisture, and then I can go deep, to see if I got it on long enough. And as you see, as I go in deeper, it's still pretty wet.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I found too is it's a really good idea to check your garden periodically and consistently, because every garden's going to be different depending on the type of soil you're using, depending on the temperature. So for the first couple of weeks, it's kind of a trial and error process till you kind of get it down, but
Sure.
you will. Just check things out, and then if you need to adjust your timer or your frequency, you can do that depending on your growing conditions.
And Kim, one other point is they could actually set their timer to come on like 3 times a day. Most timers have several different frequencies. So you could have it come on for a couple minutes in the morning, a couple minutes in the afternoon, and a couple minutes in the late afternoon.
Perfect. That way the plants are getting the water that they need, and they're going to be thriving and surviving and giving us lots of veggies to eat.
Yeah.
Love
Great.
it. Sam, thank you so much for helping me out here today.
Thank you so much. It's been such a joy working with you today and with Jerry.
We had a great time. And what do you think? Are you feeling a lot more excited and confident to install Mr. Landscaper drip irrigation in your garden? Let me know in the comments. And Sam, where can people find Mr. Landscaper?
Well, Kim, you can go to our website, you can email us, or even if you want to talk to a real live person, you can call us. And we look so forward to working with you and Jerry and all of your fantastic followers. We just feel like what a gift this is to be a part of this.
Wonderful. So head over to MrLandscaper.com, and Sam, you've generously offered our viewers a 20% discount with the code CallieKim. And make sure you stay tuned for part 2 of this, where Sam and I will be installing micro sprayers for your garden and your landscaping. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.